right, so when we left off, Europe is on the brink of war. And really, it's going to be fought, or could have been fought, over the land that the Ottoman Empire had lost in Southeast Europe, the land that we call the Balkans. And specifically because the Serbians felt like this was their land, that it had been their land for centuries. And that when Germany gave this land to Austria, because the Ottoman Empire had lost control, that they were basically taking Serbian land. So the Serbians are mad. The Russians support the Serbians. The Austrians are going to show off how tough they are, and they send their Archduke, Francis Ferdinand, who basically is second in line. Right, he's like the prince. Okay, when his dad dies, he'll become king, and he's going to go visit Sarajevo, which we're going to look at this map here. We're going to see where Sarajevo is. Sarajevo is right here. Okay, it's in the area that Serbia believes is Serbian land. This would be Croatia, which is also Slavic. Serbia believes that this whole area here is its historic land. And the Austrians are going to send their Archduke there, and he's going to do a parade. He's going to show how tough he is. He's going to say, hey, we rule you now. I'm here to show you who's in charge. Okay, and a group of Serbian terrorists who wanted Bosnia to be part of the Serbian kingdom decided that they were going to attack. Now, this is where the story gets weird, because the Archduke's in the car with his wife, who's pregnant, by the way. And at first, right, earlier in the morning, one of the Serbian terrorists threw a bomb at the car. Okay, the bomb hits the car, and it bounces off, and it lands in the street where it explodes. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm doing this I'm tough show-off parade in a city where I knew that there were terrorists who wanted to come and take my land, maybe I took their land, and either way, and I got someone just threw a bomb at my car, I'm going home. Okay, I'm done. Send me home. Let me just not only go back to my hotel room, but put me on the first train to Austria, to Vienna. Let me get out of this place. But he doesn't. He continues along. I guess he took a wrong turn down an alley, or maybe a weird side street, and all of a sudden he gets stopped by a Serbian terrorist dressed in black. He runs up to the car. He shoots the Archduke. He shoots his pregnant wife. They both die. And this is the spark that we talked about, the last cause of World War I. So if we're looking for causes of World War I, this would count as well. Austria is furious. Their prince was just killed. Their vice president. I don't know what the right term is that you want to connect with, but the Archduke. And they don't know if the Serbian government was involved or if it was just terrorists. Have I ever heard something like that before? I don't know if the government was involved, but maybe it was just terrorists within your country. But I'm going to attack your whole country and try and overthrow your government. I feel like I've heard that somewhere. Yeah, September 11th. This is what George Bush did to Afghanistan when he went into war in Afghanistan. Really weird situation there in Afghanistan. The Taliban was allowing Osama bin Laden to have terrorist training camps there. He was there. The U.S. asked to hand over Osama bin Laden. Afghanistan, do they say no? Maybe, I guess. And then we go to war with Afghanistan, with the Taliban government of Afghanistan, when we were trying to go after Al-Qaeda, the terrorist group led by Osama bin Laden. By the way, the Taliban, we just signed a power sharing agreement where the Taliban's allowed to have partial control over Afghanistan again. Is that admitting a wrong? I really don't know. I'd like to know more about it, to tell you the truth. Okay, so anyways, the Austrian government just wants to crush the Serbians to prove a point, to end the threat. There's no way that you guys are going to take this land back and May not have been your government who did this, but we're going to war. And they declare war on Serbia 1 month later. First, they get the support of the Germans, who are more powerful, and then they declare war on Serbia. Russia is Serbia's buddy. They don't like this. And Tsar Nicholas II, he decides that he's going to gather half of his army together, or mobilize half of his army, put them on the border, and start marching them towards Serbia to protect his cousin or his ally, the Serbs. Remember, he also wants Serbia to have a piece of land near the sea so that he can launch his ships into the sea from Serbia, his Slavic cousins. So Germany sees this, and Germany now, Austria's ally, says, Russia, if you guys don't stop mobilizing your army, we're going to have to declare war on you too. Russia ignores Germany. They don't care. They are going to support Serbia. Remember, in their head, they kind of know that they got Britain and France over there who are part of their alliance as well. Speaking of Britain and France, Germany had a plan knowing about the alliance. These were not secret alliances. And Germany had decided that if we're ever going to go to war with the Triple Entente, which was Britain, France, and Russia, we need to attack France first. Okay? If we attack France first, we can shut it down in the West. They thought that it would be easier to get to Paris than it would be to get to Moscow. So we'll attack France with one hand, with our best army, and then we'll nibble here at Russia and just try and keep them from invading. Once we defeat France, all of our army is going to be required to get to Moscow. This was what's called the Schlieffen Plan. Once again, attack France first and get to Paris, hold off the Russians on the border, and then by the time we get to Paris, send the rest of the army, because Moscow is really, really hard to get to. Napoleon found that out. Everyone knows. It's never try and invade Russia. They're too tough, too big. It's just big and cold, right? So then they immediately, 2 days later, declare war on France. Who France says, well, I know I'm part of this alliance, but I'm not mobilizing. But of course, now they're ready to go. Germany then demands that Belgium, a little small country of Belgium, which if we just want to look at the map just for fun, because I'm a map guy, this is Belgium. And Germany says, look, I want to be able to cross through Belgium to get to France. Paris is located right around here. And Britain, who is France's ally, uses this as an excuse to declare war on Germany. They say, if you invade Belgium, you're going to fight us too. Okay? And in a matter of days, we're going to see that what started off as an assassination by a terrorist group has now brought the entire continent of Europe into World War I. And, interesting side note, in the 1800s, especially when we talk about, like, say, the German Wars of Unification, 1871, 40 years earlier than most recent wars, there were oftentimes just like a battle or two. And the winner got a little bit of land, and the loser gave up a little bit of land. All done, right? They weren't these long, drawn-out total wars. They were a battle, and you win, we'll give you back Lombard or Venetia or Alsace and Lorraine, and then we're cool again. That's not going to be how World War I is fought. And a lot of these countries kind of thought that's what was going to happen. They expected a 2-month, some people said 2-week war that will end after a few battles, and we'll give up a fringe piece of land here, a fringe piece of land there. No. This will be different.